That's right. I'm back making another Raw review right now. Let's go. Joe Tessatore opened the show being announced on Raw as the new announcer. He did okay during the broadcast. I thought there was some spots where he needed to have a little bit more energy for me, just for me, but that's my own taste. There was a couple spots he did okay, and then on the closing angle he did pretty good. There was a lot of energy, sent me home happy, which was okay. This was a big Judgment Day show. Rhea Ripley came down, said she wanted the title since she pinned Liv at Bash at Berlin. Then Dominic came out, said Liv accepted it. Then Liv attacked Rhea from nowhere. They got Rhea's leg hung up in the ropes. Her knee was hurt. And it looks like it's going to be Liv versus Rhea at the next pay-per-view. But Rhea might have a knee injury going into that. She ended up all night with a brace. She wasn't able to compete for the rest of the night. Doctors wouldn't let her. She had a brace on all night. So it might be a thing leading up into the new one. I don't know. Then another thing with Judgment Day, Dom was in the IC title tournament. He took on Ilya Dragunov and Dragon Lee. I thought this was a young talent showcase, in my opinion, type thing. Because they were all young, and it's like the WWE's future, which is kind of cool to me, because it kind of is. So, plus, I'm a Paul Heyman guy, as you know, so I'm looking for future champions. Judgment Day came down to try and help Dom. Priest ran Dom out of there, so it ended up just being a one-on-one match between Dragon Lee and Dragunov. And Dragunov ended up taking that match, so he moves on in the IC title match. Priest then went to Pierce to get a match later on versus Balor, but Balor said he only would face him in a tag team match, which was stupid. So it ended up being Priest and Jey Uso, who's with Rhea. Rhea called Jey Uso and was like, yo, I need you to help out. Jey Uso said, yeet. So it was Priest and Uso versus Balor and JD McDonough. Liv Morgan tried to come down and interfere in that as well. That didn't work out. Priest and Balor ended up winning the match because Rhea came down and chased Liv off. Even on one leg, she still looked much meaner and more terrifying than Liv. But that's just how, that was the Judgment Day part. They started on a down note with Rhea getting hurt. They ended on a high note with everyone in the ring freaking yeeting. They were all doing the yeet. Even Rhea and Damian were doing yeet in the middle of the ring down the show. We also had American Made versus Alpha Academy again. I'm kind of sick of this, but they used it to set up a Uncle Howdy tag match, I believe it was. Gable called out the Wyatt Six, and Uncle Howdy accepted their match for a later date. They didn't give a specific date. I don't know when it's gonna be. I don't know what. It's just a match later. And Uncle Howdy accepted it. So there was that. CM Punk came out. He said he had Drew McIntyre in the rear, and he was going for Gunther. Since Gunther doesn't have a title contender, he was gonna go for Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. That's not happening. Drew attacked him, beat him up. Punk ended up being bloody. Drew took the bracelet off Punk. Of course, this whole thing is like built around a bracelet, which is kind of weird. But he took the bracelet off Punk, ripped it, and then shoved it in Punk's mouth and started beating him up. They thought they took Drew away, but as Punk was being stretchered out to the ambulance, right before he got in the ambulance, McIntyre attacked him again, started beating him down again. Adam Pearce did nothing, just looked at him and yelled at him to stop. Did absolutely nothing. Just stop. Whatever. No one cares about Adam Pearce. So I'm not even guessing. I'm almost positive that we are gonna have CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. That is what's gonna happen, because they keep saying this rivalry has been so heated, one of the most heated in a while, or whatever that's about. So it's going to be Drew versus Punk at Bad Blood in Hell in a Cell, which is going to be great. There was a women's number one contender tag title match. Damage Control versus Alba Dawn and Isla Fire. Dawn of Fire won the match because Kairi Sane went up for an elbow and accidentally hit Bianca Belair, who was sitting ringside with Jade Cargill. They had a stare down afterwards. But Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are the new number one contenders for the women's titles, the ones that they just lost at Bash in Berlin, so they're not going to win. Belair and Cargill are going to retain that. Then Gunther came out to celebrate his victory. He was literally just celebrating, saying that I'm the best, I beat the best version of Randy Orton, so I can say that now. Then Sami Zayn interrupted, which is going to be cool. I don't think Gunther's going to lose the title to Sami Zayn, because Sami basically challenged him, said, I'm coming for the title, I'm next, I'm the only one you haven't beat yet. Gunther told him no, but it's going to be Sami versus Gunther for the time being. I don't think Sami wins. I think it's just going to be Gunther with the win. He has to. You know, Gunther has to keep going, at least I think until the Rumble. Maybe the Rumble. Maybe you let him hold it till WrestleMania. But we don't need all these long world title reigns. I like a little change in there. That's why I'm thinking maybe to the Rumble, maybe Elimination Chamber. We'll see what happens with the feuds and stuff like that, but that's where I'm at. We also had Zelina Vega versus Shayna Baszler. Shayna ended up winning. The PFC beat them down afterwards. Lyra Valkyria tried to come down for the save, but they beat them down too. And then Lyra said she was going to go after the match, after they were all backstage hurt. She said she was going to try and go call somebody. I don't know who she's going to call, but that was that. And then we had another IC title tournament match between Braun Strowman, Sheamus, and Ludwig Kaiser. This was a match as you'd expect. I thought it was a good match. It was a lot of hard-hitting match. It was a great match. Pete Dunne did come down to attack Sheamus, which basically took Sheamus out, and Braun capitalized on the distraction, did the power slam, 1, 2, 3. He's in the IC title, so the number one contender match for the IC title next week on Raw is Braun Strowman, Ilya Dragunov, Jey Uso, and Pete Dunne. Those are the four that are going to be in a fatal four-way next week for the IC title, for the number one contendership for the IC title. Braun Breaker stared down Jey Uso too and said, "You don't want this," and they had like a stare down. So I'm assuming Jey Uso is going to win the IC title. That would be my assumption. So it's going to be Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker, I'm assuming, in Bad Blood, which would be crazy. And I'm a Paul Heyman guy again, so I like Jey Uso. I think he got potential. I think he can win titles. I think he could do it, but I don't think he's going to do it. I think it's going to be Braun Breaker retaining at Bad Blood. But thank you all for watching. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all later.